What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin, and you're joined with Zach Stone so that we can talk about all the news we just heard today, May 6th, as they dropped this bombshell of a mix of news ranging from Reign of Jafar's release and cards from that set, alongside with Fable, which is set 9, rotation. We're also going to talk about our opinions on all these things and more in this video. But first of all, we're joined with Zach Stone. Zach, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Honestly, this was exciting to kind of be able to witness. We got a lot of information and a lot more transparency about what's going to be going on. But yeah, Reign of Jafar, we got our first little sneak preview into the set, and I'm excited to go over a lot of the cards that were revealed today.
Yeah, alongside cards, they also revealed some of the product that is going along with, like, as in the Trove or the Palace Heist, which is going to be like their version of the Illuminator's Quest. If you guys played during Ursula's Return format, the Illuminator's Quest was almost like a solo slash multiplayer mini game that you can play with it, and I thought it was pretty interesting the first time around. Box was huge, and it's looking like the box is pretty tiny now, which I think is going to look a lot better on the shelves, whether you're collecting it at home or if you're just finding it at Target or something. But these were pretty fun when they came out. Overall, though, I do wish that they would have included some packs in the Palace Heist. That's my immediate reaction there for that. Just because whenever people ask about the Illuminator's Quest, they often ask me, does it come with packs or something? And the fact that it comes with a lot of good cards, a lot of good cards if you want to play the game. But the fact that it does not come with any extra packs or something, except for like the extra the extra Jafar pack, you can unpack one if you finish the game. But
Yeah, that's one thing to really discuss for sure. But the cool thing about this new size, new sort of like ergonomical design is that it is itself a storage box. So you could put all of these things back in the box that you bought it in, and you have a nice little place to put it. And I really like that because something that I actually I keep in my Ursula's Return, everything that I bought comes with it in one little tucked away deck box. This Palace Heist, it looks like they figured out the problem, and they have a nice solution for us. So I'm really looking forward to actually playing this, and I like to have fun with this kind of things. I really like to see what kind of cards come out too. It really helps me decide like what it has more printings available of it than compared to not. So it's
mhm.
going to be a nice little thing to kind of learn and discover, and I can't wait. I really want to find out what that little prize is too, because it's not like the Ursula's thing where you defeat her, you have to steal the crown back, I believe, right?
Yeah. I think that's what's happening. So maybe instead of get the half hexwell crown, they'll give us the full hexwell crown or something this time around, right? Full art dividers, which is kind of cool. You get them in your troves instead of needing to pull full art cards, they're giving us full art dividers. I like the dice. The dice look very on theme, which is very nice. Very like Jafar, Sandy, the red with the golden sand right there, and a Jafar lore counter, 8 pack still with your trove. Nothing too new there aside from the colorful dividers, but that's pretty cool. But let's talk about the bread and butter, shall we? Let's start talking about some cards and some other things. But let's look over some cards we do know already, like this Bambi that was revealed to us. So we have a 2-cost Bambi, 3 strength, 2 willpower, and Amethyst card, a Storyborn Hero Prince. Quest for 1. Look at this flavor text, Zach Stone. As he grew older, he began to understand his responsibilities to all the creatures of the woods. So, along with all the other creatures in the woods, there's going to be Bambi now introduced in Lorcana. Pretty interesting to see. I feel like Bambi was one of the first Disney movies that I watched like back in the day as a kid with my mom or something. Didn't really know too much about Disney outside of the VHS we had at the home. So that's pretty crazy, man. A Bambi card. It's a vanilla. It's a 3 strength, 2 willpower vanilla. I think it's because of where the now confirmed reprints and everything, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, we're getting more cards that are going to be a little bit, it seems, like not lesser in power, but cards that we've seen already in the game, though with different characters, different keywords, even like Prince. I think that's kind of interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, it seems to be like there's a stat line, like a base stat line that they're going to follow, and just throw different characters in different, circumstances with different arts. And I like where this game is going to be going in the future for sure with that. And then yeah, the keywords we have Prince that I think does come up with like the Pride Lands location. So you never know what they can print in the future. You never know what they can support more or less later on, and it's nice to see more characters from Bambi come out too. Because we have this flower, I believe, right? It's the Shy Skunk, and it has an ability that when you play another character, you look at the top card of your deck, and you can basically decide if you want it on the top or the bottom. I know Magic has like a keyword called scry in it. That's kind of basically what this is. You get to look and decide if you want to see that card next to your next card, or pitch it to the bottom and find another one. And it does get to be used every time you play another character. So if you are like playing more cards, or especially more characters that draw cards like Merlin Rabbit, you can honestly decide to, do I want this card or I want the next card?
Yeah, and not a bad effect. I feel like over time, some of these effects might get a little bit better. That was the Merlin Crab's ability too, right? Or it's kind of similar. The 4 cost Merlin Crab, 3 strength, 3 willpower. When you on play, and when it leaves, you can look at the top cards of your deck and decide if you want to keep them or not.
It's either that or the squirrel. And to be honest, those are both cards that
Sorry,
don't
not
see
crab.
any play.
Turtle. The turtle. It's the turtle. It's the Merlin
It's the
turtle. Yeah, it's
turtle.
the Merlin turtle. I'm tripping. Crab. Yeah, it's the Merlin turtle. That's what it is. Yeah, he has that ability. But yeah,
Yeah.
alongside Flower, the skunk from Bambi, there's also Thumper, my favorite character from the Bambi movie. Yeah, look at this. The Thumper, young bunny. He is a 0 strength, 3 willpower, but he does not stay at 0 strength for very long. If you exert this character, chosen character gains +3 strength this turn. You could even give it to himself and maybe re-ready him with something like LeFou or Sven. That's a pretty interesting strategy. But Ruby in general, getting some extra tools to give your character strength, which I think is pretty powerful. Especially in the new possible meta. We don't know what's gonna happen in the future of Lorcana post Fabled. You know what I mean? But at least in the current meta, this card seems pretty decent. It's a 3 willpower character on turn 2. And I feel like this has a lot of decent utility in some other decks, as opposed to maybe something like a Pluto 6 cost character with Amber Steel, dual ink colors, 2 strength, 7 willpower. He'll quest for 2 and says, while this character has no damage, he gains +2 and support. Just in general, so it's a little bit not my favorite card. Yeah, 6 cost character for a 4/7, but it loses that strength if it gets damaged, and its extra ability. Not my favorite card in general. But the artwork looks lovely, and we see a Goofy there too. So is this going to be some continuous artwork here? We're going to see a Goofy. That's also maybe an Amber Steel that lets us combo this off.
That's a good precedent. I know nothing like that was shown to us earlier, but hey, the card is just too expensive. I think that is a very fine effect, but it's too expensive. I think they could have done something a little bit differently. It will have that support while having the additional 2 strength, so it will give that 4 strength to another character. And it seems to be like the Amber Steam. However, the ability when it has no damage might also be something related to the steel category. More Duel Link cards to really talk about too, and this is another one of those promos. Pull the lever, you get to have a choose one ability of either draw 2 cards, or you make your opponent to choose and discard a card. So it's either sudden chill or friends on the other side. And there's one that costs 2, and then there's one that costs 3. So which one do you think is better than the other, right?
Next up for Dual Ink cards, we got to talk about this puppy support coming out. This is another promo. I think is this the League promo, or is this oh, so the Pluto's not League promo. The Pluto is like a promo for events, if I'm not mistaken. These are League promos. Yes, these are League promos. It's going to be a 1 cost uninkable patch, the Playful Pup, a yellow-blue Dual Ink color, 0 strength, 2 willpower. He has Ward, has an ability that says, while you have another puppy character in play, this character gets +1 lore, meaning he can quest for 2. So a 1 cost character that can quest for 2 alongside Daisy Duck, I feel like that's pretty powerful. And all you need is another puppy in play, and he already has wards, so I kind of get the feeling he's going to be able to stick on the board for a cool minute, as opposed to something like maybe like Cursed Merfolk, which can be shot down by Fire the Cannons or anything from like Twin Fire, Strength, Storm Rage on. This card won't be able to be chosen like that, right? Some other puppy promos that we're going to be getting for our local league nights. We have the Dual Ink Lady Decisive Dog. This is a yellow-green Dual Ink character, also 0 strength and 3 willpower. It's a 1 cost inkable, and it's going to synergize perfectly with your Dog decks. Has an ability that says, when you play a character, this character gains +1 strength this turn. While this character has 3 strength or more, she gets +2 lore. She can quest for 3. That's pretty insane. So like on turn 1 you can play this lady. On turn 2 you play your tramp, which can give your lady +1 strength, and this lady will already have an extra 1 strength. Next turn you can play another tramp, and then boom, she's gonna have the 3 strength she needs to quest for 3, which is pretty hefty.
Yeah, no, this card's very strong. Don't forget there's characters like Cricky that still exist in Emerald, and that gives every other character you have in play 3 strength. So that immediately gives it the extra lore bonus too. We have the Tramp already from the Arcasia's Island that's giving the character strength. And I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a very strong card. One cost 0-3 is a very good stat line, and it has 2 different abilities. And I'm not gonna be surprised to see this card to be like a rare or a super in the set. I don't think we know that right now. It's just the promo as far as I'm concerned. But it's, again, very powerful ability. This is immediately going to be a 4 in the Chernodog deck. And I think you get to play less of those 1 cost 0-4 characters that just essentially become bodies, right?
Yeah, like you probably take out some Nalas or some Little Johns to replace with the lady over here. I misspoke, by the way. On turn 2 you could play a character and Tramp is what it is. Because Tramp will cost 1, so it's so good. So you can even give it the 3 strength it needs
You
on
quest
turn 2 to quest
3
for
on
3.
your second turn.
Yes, you
That's
quest for 3 on your second. That
crazy.
is crazy, right? So you can go like Daisy Tramp on turn 2. Oh my goodness, that's pretty strong. And then you can play Merryweather as well. Merryweather is give a character +2 strength, so this will gain that extra strength because of the Merryweather as well. So that's going to be really powerful. It's Megara. It's going to be a really fun deck, a really cool card to use. I'm very excited for Lady as a Chernodog enjoyer. You know I'm excited for that one. Aladdin, Vigilant Guard. This is another card, a dual ink character coming out in the new Reign of Jafar set. 6 cost inkable, 1 strength, 9 willpower. That says Bodyguard. More bodyguards for our blue steel Kiwi players, maybe. Whenever one of your ally characters quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from this character. Not my favorite ability, Sackstone, but it looks okay. Like in terms of a stat line, like 1-9 is kind of scary. Bodyguard. Maybe there's going to be some cool blanket effects that give your ally characters or your characters ward. Because if not, then this is kind of like a sitting duck for Sisu. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really like characters with like 1 strength or 2 strength that cost more than 5. In my honest opinion, it's what such a weird stat line because of what you just mentioned, right, Kevin? Like it's very easily removable with something that costs like half of that. And I'm not a big fan. Something that doesn't cost more than 5 that costs 4 though is that Minnie Mouse, and she is a bodyguard. I'm honestly really hyped about this card. It is a dueling card, so you're only able to play it in the Amber Ruby combination, but it has such a large amount of willpower. And if your opponent isn't chunking it down in like one turn, like swinging something big into it, like a Lawrence, and then Zeusing the rest of it, then they're going to have to trade more characters into this character because you cannot leave something in the Amber card pool with damage on it because Rapunzel exists, and that is kind of to foreshadow something that we'll talk about later. But this is such a strong card, and I'm excited to see if this gets included in some of those like Mufasa strategies.
Definitely a strong card. Here's some other cards you can use for your other strategies. A Jasmine to go along with your Aladdin, Steady Strategist. Maybe this will be another a dual art card. Cards that have the art that connect, 4 inkable character, 2 strength, 5 willpower, shift 2 for your Jasmine Sapphire characters, which is pretty nice. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal an ally character and put it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So that's kind of nice. You can shift it on turn 2, which is pretty crazy. It's a 4 cost character, so you can see how far it'll go in case you don't want to use this ability. And then on turn 3, you can start questing with this ability. It's start getting your +1s. I think this is a high potential card for Sapphire Steel players. Maybe Jasmine might be a playable strategy.
Yeah, Blue Steel Allies might become the next meta deck. We will find out when these cards and every other Reign of Jafar card is fully able for competitive constructed play. You got to talk about the king himself. Something that one thing that I want to mention about this card too is that it will be the set champ promo for our set championships during Reign of Jafar season, but that is the Jafar, the what is it, the High Sultan of Lorcana, literally has Lorcana in its keyword, which is crazy. I don't know how many cards actually have that, but this character reads whenever this character quests, you basically draw a card and discard a card. And you get to play an illusion character you discard for free if that's the card you discarded. So it has 3 lore and 4/4. Kevin and I have mentioned plenty of times on the channel that 4 is the magic number in Lorcana as of right now. And it's going to dodge a lot of the ruby removal, meaning that it's basically steel cards that can interact with this more or less. Very, very handful of other exceptions too, like Let It Go or Hades. But this is a dual link card, again, only limited to the color pair of amethyst and steel, but very important for the illusion strategy. I think that this card will see a lot of play. However, it does have a higher cost of an inkability, but again, I think it's very, very good. I'm pretty sure that this card just gets better with the more illusions they print. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, actually, Kevin. I've only talked about this card a couple times.
Yeah, at first I didn't think it was that good, but then rereading it, if an illusion character card is discarded this way, you may play that character for free. That is just too good to be true sometimes, man. It's super powerful because you quest for 3 also, so you don't even like lose out on the lore when you use this ability. It's not like Tinkerbell where you can exert it to draw and discard a card. You're questing, you're getting that 3 lore, and you're playing the card for free. Very, very nice. We're already seeing Amethyst Steel Jafar Wheel take first place at some huge tournaments in this current meta. Adding this card to your illusion strategy is probably going to make it even a little bit better. And Loki, maybe you even play this in kind of in a type of Amethyst Steel tempo aggro kind of deck. You know, you're questing for 3 with a 5 cost character. It's not too far fetched to get to that 5 cost, and you can play something for free like your Iagos. Maybe you're gonna play your Rajas or your Giant Cobras for free, so you can go for game. But there's even some new cards, Zach Stone, that we're getting in this set that you can start playing for free, like Magic Carpet. This is a new illusion character. Phantom Rug, a 3 cost character that is inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower with the Vanish ability, as all the illusion characters have. Your other illusion characters gain Challenger +1. Not too shabby. It's kind of like a Skater Mim, you know, or like a Lumiere or something like that. It's a quest for 2 character, which is very nice, and it's only 3 cost inkable. A lot of the illusion characters are very strong this way. They're almost like overstated. Right? Would you agree?
Well, the fact that it has 2 lore, I think, is very impressive. It's something that's pretty hard to find, like 3 cost cards with 2 lore that don't have such a high willpower. Like, I mean, the first card I'm thinking of is Lawrence, but Lawrence has a little bit of a drawback that once he becomes damaged, he no longer has his strength. But the high enough willpower means that most of the time they do have to swing something into it, and it doesn't mean that it will trade effectively. Like cards like Maui Hero to All do not come down that early, so Lawrence is going to get value. Same thing with this Magic Carpet. And if you're not playing against Ruby decks, so you don't have to worry about Brawl, this is a card that's going to be a little bit harder to deal with. And we have another illusion character. Look at this. We're basically raising the bar in our stat line here. That's what they're trying to have for illusions. Like if they're going to be a little bit of more of a drawback to their higher stat line. So we have a 1 cost 1/4 inkable. Daisy Duck's the only thing that I know with that stat line. However, Daisy Duck is uninkable with an additional lore power and that ability that gives characters to your opponent. But still an amazing card. I'm pretty sure that this Palace card will see some play. It's a good, nice 1-drop, and Amethyst does have the ability to give other characters Challenger. So this is going to be able to trade well into other bodies. And it won't be as hard to deal with because it is going to have that Vanish keyword. So any actions that choose it will remove this character from play. But we'll have to see if there's something else that comes out, because even though I like this card, I don't see it being like an auto include in Amethyst Steel with all the other 1-drops they have access to.
Maybe even in Ruby Amethyst, man. A lot of people like that Olaf Minnie Mouse combo. People like the 1/4s with the ability to use Crab and Teeth and Ambitions or something. But this is a pretty interesting change of pace for the game. Like you said, we're changing the bar of like what our stat lines are going to be. I would like to see maybe some more reckless characters in the meta to counter some of these big bodies, or maybe some characters with evasive to make sure these big bodies can challenge us, like Vanellope Von Schweetz over here. This is an evasive character, a 2 cost inkable, 3 strength, 1 willpower with evasive. This is another Sir Hiss or Pegasus, if you will, for those of us who are a little bit higher class than Lorcana. The flavor text: I can handle anything you throw at me, Wait, are those laser snakes? This is the best track ever. Laser snakes is crazy. But I'm pretty sure those are laser snakes created by Jafar, the Sultan of Lorcana, attacking our favorite characters over here as they evade him. And then we even have some other princesses taking the reign of Jafar head on with their sheer power, like
Legendary.
Rapunzel. Yeah, with their sheer legendary power. Rapunzel, the High Climber, one of our first legendaries released for this set. This is a 5 cost character with evasive, 2 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 2, and says whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. A Heffalumps and Woozles, if you will, or it's kind of like the big Dr. Facilier, like that. Can you mentioned that to me earlier, Zach Stone? The Emerald character. I like this card a lot. Zach says he doesn't like it. I think it's really good. It's like the perfect card. I think on like an Emerald curve. Maybe you're playing just in time in like an Emerald Amber aggro deck, and you boom, high five your way into this. Emerald Sapphire, bro. Emerald Sapphire aggro. Remember the high five deck from set one. You could bring that back and go Mickey into Rapunzel. Start questing for 2. I think it's a really strong card. The 5 willpower is really good. It really only loses out to the idea of like cards like Ice Block Sisu, Medusa, a lot of these cards that we've come to know, and Fear for characters with low strength, right? But I think in a world where Magic Carpet is good, this card is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I just talked about how cards that cost 5 or more shouldn't have 2 or less strength, and here we are. We're talking about one right now. But the ability isn't the worst. It's just not the strongest. And again, I'm not. I refuse to see Emerald get the short end of the stick in its legendary pool. Emerald deserves better legendaries, and it's happened multiple sets in a row. So I'm demanding we get some Fire Emerald cards. Maybe the next Emerald legendary that comes out of this set completely blows this one out of the water. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this card. I was mentioning earlier that this card might be able to be used with a combination of like You Came Back, so you're able to re-ready her at quest again, which locks more characters out from questing on your opponent's next turn. Other than that, though, I mean, it's a princess. Unless they get some more like more cards that will allow this card to thrive a little bit better. I'm not so sure that this card will see competitive play. However, collectability might be a reason that this card's getting printed. Who knows? I'd love to see this become an enchanted card, actually.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. In fact, I do remember seeing some pictures a while ago of a Rapunzel and Stitch in different arts for this set. It was just like some random stuff I saw online. So maybe this Rapunzel gets that nice enchanted treatment, and we finally get an enchanted Rapunzel. Zach Stone, that'd be so cool. That would be so cool. But since we're on our enchanted conversation, we do have an enchanted that was revealed for us, and it's a beautiful one, bro. It is the Reign of Jafar Jasmine Steady Strategist. This enchanted a 4 cost character, the one we just looked over right now, the one that we said was playable. I think it's playable. Being able to shift on turn 2 seems really strong, and now you can do it with a nice enchanted Jasmine card. This is what the second enchanted Jasmine we have, because we have the Ursul's Return Emerald Jasmine, if I'm not mistaken.
They call her the Fart Jasmine. If you know, you know.
What? I've never heard that before. This is news to me. This is news to me. And a news flash: princesses probably fart too, bro. um, but yes, we have our first enchanted revealed from Reign of Jafar, as you guys saw from the stream. I really love the art right here. I like this kind of sandy border they're kind of doing. It feels very like the what's the ride at Universal Studios? The the Mummy Returns. It feels like that. It's really cool. I really enjoy it as part of the border right here on the top right and the bottom left corners. We can see a Raja here as well. This looks like an illusion Raja. Right, so maybe Jafar is not the only person who can create illusions. Maybe Jasmine develops the power during the reign of Jafar to be able to develop illusions as well. That's really cool. And are these this is in sand? This is like locusts or something. It's like they're turning. It's like the bugs. They're turning into the sand. That's really cool, dude. It's such a wonderful enchanted. Shout out the artist Viv Tanner over here. And any other artist working on this set.
Yeah, so like those cards or those enchanteds are going to look superb, and I'm loving the fact that they're keeping the same trend as they did the Shimmering Skies, where it's like a different borders and different like placements into where like some of like the words are and the letters. I just really love that design, and I'm glad they're sticking to it. I know a couple of my buddies are actually going to be excited for that Enchanted Jasmine, but I'm excited to talk about what we have here. And now, this set, the Fable, I love the changes that are going to be coming with this set. Plenty of things to go over, but first things first, Kevin. Like, what were your thoughts when you found out this was the reprint set?
Honestly, my heart kind of sank because it was the first confirmation that we got of the rotation information alongside some other cool graphics and other things we're going to talk about. But yeah, that was the first time that I realized, okay, where they're going to be reprinting a bunch of cards for a specific reason, and we now know that when Set 9 becomes legal, the competitive format is going to change, and because of that, they're going to reprint a bunch of cards so that you can have them in your in your arsenal as well. They'll be available in Fabled, and I was a little shook, I was a little shocked because I'm not used to rotation in terms of card games, but I'm also really excited because this means there's a bunch of potential to have some like wonderful cards that we know are going to be like really impactful to the future of the metagame forever. But you can have them now in like some nicer rarities and some different types of foil patterns. Even I'm really excited for the new rarities we're getting in this set. So it would be really cool if we got some really iconic Lorcana competitive cards reprinted in some really cool rarities. You know what I mean? Anything ranging from like Friends on the Other Side, all the way from like Diablo Devoted Herald. I know a lot of people don't like Diablo, but as someone who just enjoys playing the game and wants more people to play the game overall, I think this is really important in terms of the barrier of entry and how people get to join the Lorcana space. So yeah, I think this is really important, man. I think this is going to take the game in a new direction and bring a lot of new players into the game as well. So overall, like at first, I was pretty shocked about it being a reprint set, but I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to see what kind of stuff we see, and I wonder if it's going to be, and I wonder if it's going to like take the place of like a core set, or if it's gonna like kind of run through pretty quickly. It does feel like Lorcana goes through their sets very quickly, anyways. So to have like a set that's a little bit more dedicated to reprints, I'm totally down for that. It'll feel like the format is a little bit like longer. You know what I mean? Post rotation, so that's gonna be really fun. Zach, what do you think, man?
I first thoughts were that rotation. I think it will be necessary for this game. You and I played Yu-Gi-Oh, man, and that card game has to reprint things over and over and over again. They have to constantly just they have to check in with like their card pool if they don't want to print something that enables other cards to be insanely good. That's an underlining problem that that game has. Of course, they have ban lists that it can shut any of those card combinations down, which we see it do, but the rotation allows them to bring more cards back whenever they want. And my favorite part about this, and I've been thinking about it a lot, we have the opportunity to see them print cards and remove other enablers. Like, for example, the Shift Diablo. That card does seem to be played in the color combinations of Amethyst Emerald or Emerald Steel. But if that one cost inkable Emerald Diablo doesn't hit the rotation, where does the Shift Diablo have to be paired with? It only can get paired with the Amethyst Emerald strategy. So we can see other cards get moved into other color pairs, for example, or something like Prince John that people don't like to play against could still be rotated in by removing cards that enable its draw power, like Hypnotize, Sudden Chill, Bruno, Lucifer. Maybe you can keep something like Lucifer, which is again an uninkable high cost character that may or may not be able to be played. You could have to force yourself to play other cards if you want that color pattern to be viable. So the rotation gives them plenty of opportunities to bring stuff back, remove stuff. And I like that we're not locked into dealing with these cards unless they decide to ban them on a ban list. I like the idea of them potentially just going away. And we're seeing them print same cards with the same stat lines, just with different characters involved, different, keywords or classifications. So we have I think we're eating good, if I'm being honest with you. I think that this game is going to be fresh. Some people may not like the idea of not being able to play their favorite cards again, but I don't think we should be discouraged because they can just reprint them whenever they want.
Exactly. They could just reprint them whenever they want, and you can still use them from the old sets to the new sets, which was also confirmed. The cards are pretty much going to be the same. Not all of them. Some of them are pretty much going to be the same. The only difference is the bottom left corner will have the number change from set two, for example, for the Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard over here, to set nine, which is really interesting. And yeah, the biggest thing too is that they're going to be printed in their new foiling. You know, because if you guys are familiar, the earlier sets had this cold foil kind of texture that was going on, where it had like the background of the character more foil than the actual character and stuff. And the newer foils, the whole card is foil. So the foiling for these cards reprints are going to be in the new foiling as well. So you're going to be able to tell whether or not it's a Rockstar Stitch from set 9 or a Rockstar Stitch from set 1. And even some extra flair being added to some of these cards too. The Maleficent Monsters Dragon that we're getting reprinted is going to have a different legendary moniker, is what it's looking like. It's the same legendary symbol, actually. It's a pentagon, a gold pentagon, but it has like a different, what is it, a grid, as they call it, Zach, if I'm not mistaken. If you look at it through the jeweler's loop, it'll have like a different pattern, which is really cool. And then the whole card's going to be foiled too. I can't wait to see that one.
Excited to see what kind of cards that do come back into rotation in the Fabled set. And for what it's worth, right? Like you just mentioned, the foiling in Arcasia's Island is more of like a foil that how the promos originally looked, where the whole card is foil. And if you know, you know, like the cards don't look the same in foil from set 6 to set 7, and obviously the sets prior to that, right? Like even with the legendaries in set 5 where they raise the texture, like they keep doing different things. So there might be some incentive to have some of the original cold foils, but again, I think it's going to really be dependent on like how people react to this kind of information. But I think that we finally had our voices heard for sure when they announced the new rarities, and I can't wait to see what cards get printed in epic rarity, and then they also announced iconic. And if you caught wind of that, epic is going to be easier to pull, or has more pull rates than enchanted, and iconic will have harder pull rates than enchanted. So I'd love to see the data when everyone starts opening sets and trying to find out how the likeliness of pulling these rarities, because I think for enchanted it's like one out of every 96 packs from what I've been looking online in, and that does tell you that in about a case you should pull one. I want to know how many epics you can get in a case. I want to know how many cases it takes to get an iconic. This is going to be exciting, and I love these new rarities, and I know you're excited for them too, Kevin. You want to talk about them a little bit?
Of course, dude. Epic and iconic rare. Some extra ways to pull some hits in Lorcana, man. Especially if you were opening sets 1 through 6. It was so like hard to kind of really tell, like, oh, did I pull a hit? Did I pull a good card? Sometimes you couldn't even tell if it was foil or not. And now, now the whole card is foil when you pull the foil, and they've added some extra hits in the packs. What it feels like. So I wonder how it's gonna work too. I wonder if you're gonna be able to pull most cards, or if all cards in an epic rare. You know, if it's gonna be only select cards that are gonna be an epic rare. Is it gonna be? Are some legendaries also gonna have epics but no enchanteds? There's gonna be a bunch of different ways they can do this, and I think it's gonna be really cool. And I think it's a cool way to also showcase certain cards that we were just talking about that could get reprinted, like this Elsa, into an epic rare. Like, the borders are a little bit more gone, which is beautiful. I think it overall adds to being able to showcase the artwork of the entire card while you're playing the game, which is really fun, or collecting, whatever you decide to do. Can you imagine some of these and like some of the harder hitting staples like Sail the Azurite Sea, or maybe something alongside like Dragonfire? Be prepared, and one of these would be so nice, in an epic rare. That'd be so awesome. But yeah, alongside epic rares, we got the newly announced iconic rare, and this is going to be even harder to pull than your enchanted. So I already can see the Facebook posts, bro. Like, oh, I've opened up X amount of packs. I've never pulled a single iconic rare, and then there's going to be somebody that's like, bro, I bought one starter deck from the Disneyland Hotel, and I got an iconic rare off of this one pack. And I know it'll happen. I know it can happen. This is going to be so awesome to see. Mickey Mouse, Brave Little Prince, our very first iconic rare revealed in Lorcana. And if I'm not mistaken, they said that it has like some type of like unique texturing. It's for the foiling and the lore symbol.
Yeah, they did say that this was going to add a different level of, rarity of assuming that this is going to be harder to pull than Enchanted. They gotta look better than Enchanted, right? And the texture and I think everything else that they're going to add to these cards might be worth it. Who knows? It might be a little thicker. Like if that's the case, that might worry some people about some of the packs and about trying to find out what you got in your pack before you open it. But this will be the chase, I think, for sure now, because iconics are going to be looking like one of a kind type cards. I can even imagine them in the future doing something along where they have certain amount of printings, like it'll be serialized iconic cards you can pull. You never know what they can do with stuff like this. But I do want to kind of talk back a little bit about the epic rares. They do remind me a little bit about those D100 gift set promos. If you guys remember from Rise of the Floodborn, it came with a little bundle of 6 cards. We had the Mickey, the Elsa, the Genie, the Maui, the Stitch, and the Maleficent, all in their alternate arts. And it kind of reminds me at first glance, but until I see one of these cards in person, I'm not going to say that it's going to be just like that at all. I don't know what they can look like, and I'm honestly, I can't wait to pull my first epic card. If I'm being honest with you, I wish Rapunzel from first chapter does get into the rotation again. That's Amber's only draw power, and if they print that epic, it would be the best, because it would mean that you can't really pull it any other way. And I would love to see that happen. But for right now, I'm just excited that we got new rarities, that we got our voices heard. This is something the community's been asking for. So kudos to Ravensburger for actually delivering.
Yeah, we've been asking for a lot as a community. A lot of people make their voices very well known in the spaces online or even in person, and I think it's awesome that they've been listening. I think we have a lot of valid arguments for stuff like this. So it's really cool. It's really cool for me to see the addition of extra rarities in the game. I know people who just love cracking packs who aren't even like big players. They're gonna really appreciate this, right? And there's gonna be a couple iconic rares, if I'm not mistaken, in each set. I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and assume the second one's gonna be the Minnie Mouse from the other half of the fabled like promo picture. You know what I mean? If not, then who knows what it'll be? Maybe they'll include that later.
Good read.
Good read. Good read. Good read. Right. So alongside these new rarities, we did mention a little earlier that they're changing the grid for some of the some of the current cards. The rarity symbol for legendaries is gonna have this like gold like hexagon kind of pattern within its hexagon instead of it being striped like it was before. You'll see the same pattern grid in the epics and the enchanted rares too. So you're gonna be able to see immediately the difference between the enchanted rares from the first 8 sets as opposed to the 9th set and on, from what I'm assuming. And we gotta just give huge shout outs and huge appreciation for this Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard Enchanted Rare. Oh my goodness, this thing is beautiful. This is a vanilla Enchanted Rare. This card is just a 5 cost character, 5 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 2, does nothing else. But I know some people who play this in their Blurple deck. I've seen this in play. Hey, he can sing Let It Go. But Enchanted, Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard, did not expect this, Axo. And this is why I'm totally down for Lorcana to do reprints, bro. If they're gonna reprint some of these cards, this is gonna be so awesome. I can't wait till we get like our reprints in Honey Lemon Enchanted from from like Azurite Sea or something like a year from now, or maybe some other cards from like sets 1 and 2. An Enchanted Merlin Rabbit. Can I get one of those, please? That would be awesome.
How about an Enchanted Let the Storm Rage On? Okay, that is a lyric in the Let It Go song. I'm pretty sure they can do it. I'm pretty sure they can do it because this was a common and now it's an enchanted rare.
Yeah.
So I want our good like Brawl could be an enchanted for all we know. but I gotta say, when I first saw this card, I immediately told my girlfriend, and she's like, "Well, guess what? You're gonna have to get me." And
I like that.
Yeah, she loves Winnie the Pooh. And she's wearing them. Everyone says there's poo on her shirt, but it's definitely something that I'm happy to see, because this is a very collectible card. I'm asked for foils of this version all the time, but I'm almost confident that any enchanted Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizards I will be able to have at the booth will fly immediately.
Oh yeah, bro looks locked in. Like yeah, Winnie the Pooh is one of the IPs that a lot of people ask for alongside like Stitch and stuff like that. But yeah, man, Fabled,
yes, absolutely.
Fabled's gonna do a lot for the game. I almost feel like this is the main conversation that's being had right now. Is set 9, Fabled, and rotation, and all these reprints and stuff. There's a lot of potential there's a lot of potential to make this game even better than what it is, which I didn't think was really like possible because I really like the way the game plays out already. But now they can rotate certain cards, rotate out certain cards to the point where it makes cards like the Bambi that we looked over in the beginning from Drainage Jafar to this Winnie the Pooh being like more than reasonably playable again. Because of the way they decide to rotate the cards out. They could rotate some of the heavy hitters and leave some of these cards, and then boom, Winnie the Pooh deck. Maybe they give Winnie the Pooh support or something like that. Maybe they finally give us the shift goons. We'll have to find out in the future for that one and more. We did talk about Worlds as well in our Market Watch last Friday, when they initially mentioned some of the confirmations of the leaks, and now we could just briefly mention that we're also still sad that there's no Worlds announcement. But I believe they mentioned that we're somehow still going to be able to acquire this promo for anybody watching.
They did go over something like that. Again, the Worlds is going to be a private event, so it's only available for the competitors and their plus ones. And this is something that, again, a lot of people were very, very disgruntled and upset about. There's even receipts of Ravensburger talking about being like, more of an event open to the public. And I'm pretty sure that they didn't like having to make that decision either. My honest opinion and my take is that, like, if they were to fire something like this for the public anyway, it was going to show that they weren't prepared for something like this. They probably don't have the manpower. They probably don't have the resources, and we were going to complain about that. So there's going to be, you can't make everybody happy in this world, from what I've learned, and I'm not happy about the news because I really, really wanted to go, but it should have just been something I earned my invite to rather than just go on the sidelines anyway. Again, it's congrats to any of those qualifying players. We are rooting for some of those players. Shout outs to Dincon Fam for qualifying for this event. And again, it's something we would love to be there and be a part of. I know Kevin and I have talked about it, but there's a little bit of silver lining here. We get to save our money for the next trips and for the other stuff going on in the game. This Fabled set does also include the collection starter set, which is their gift set. We saw this similar to our Azurite Sea with the Stitch gift set, where they came with the binder, but now they're repackaging it and including another Glimmer Foil promo card, which, like the Lilo looked like, this Tinkerbell Giant Fairy that we've seen from set 1 is getting the Glimmer Foil, and it does spark some interesting reactions. I'm curious to see what non-foil Tinkerbells are going to go for after the market's all settled, because that card's not seeing a lot of play. But if they're reprinting it and having it available in rotation, we are going to see the 3-cost Tinkerbell from I think it's set 6. It's the evasive one. So we do see some cards that will stay in rotation alongside this Tinkerbell, and you could see some shift lines. You could see some decks being built around it. But overall, we just get more binders and more stuff to look at. But I do like how they had the Taylor Mickey as the cover of the binder.
And that is the Taylor Mickey altar that you got as a golden Mickey for your for getting top 8 at the DLC. So close, so close. Still not over. I still need more events, Team Lorcana. That's one of the big things that everyone's asking for. They did tease a little bit about the future of the game and the events, and I know they're getting stuff ready. So although the Lorecast did not include that, we're still out here preparing for all of the tournaments. We have all the stuff you need so you guys can stay prepared for the tournaments. But yeah, I do think that this is going to change the future of the metagame for sure, obviously. Once we start hitting the rotation, and then we have to see what cards stay in rotation and which ones have to go. We have some confirmations, like we were seeing the Winnie the Pooh and the Tinkerbell over here. But yeah, I think Tinkerbell will come back into style. I think it's a really good card.
Maleficent Dragon, I mean, that card's actually coming back too. And I've talked about how Maleficent has like a lot of Amethyst cards that literally cater to characters named Maleficent. So who knows? What if you had something that says play, your Maleficent characters cost X amount of less. Imagine playing a dragon before turn 9 in like a Ruby Am deck.
Oh yeah, I think some of these cards just get even better and better. That's the thing too, is we didn't even know this was happening, so they could have printed cards from these more recent sets with the with the intention of making some banger support in sets 9 and on. So that's going to be really awesome to see. But we're not done.
Yeah, so if that does happen, it's going to be a nice thing to see if they actually make cards and have that kind of support, because we do know in the Fable that it's not just a reprint set. We know for a fact that it's not, because they tease something that I know a lot of people are happy about. we're finally getting the Goofy movie characters in Fabled, in Set 9. So, alongside new additional characters and cards to play with, we'll see our favorites from the first 4 sets being reprinted in the Fabled. And overall, I think this set's going to be a banger. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, so it's cool to see that it's not only a reprint set. We're going to be getting some new IPs added to it, like Max from the Goofy movie, and obviously every other Goofy related IP. Goofy and his son now in Lorcana, and the very famous Power line going to be in the Disney Lorcana franchise. Is going to be so cool. I'm pretty sure this is the artwork for Eye to Eye. I can't see how it's not, so we're going to have Eye to Eye as a song. I really hope they give us a Power line character. They better give us Roxanne. They better give us P as a dad. Everybody, PJ, dude, the gang. This is gonna be so cool. I cannot wait to see what Goofy movie cards they give us. What if they even include Extremely Goofy movie and they start giving us the Bradley Upper Crust or whatever his name, the third, the skater villain. Oh, bro, that'd be so cool. Fabled is gonna be so heavy hitting. Yeah, there's so many people that I can think of right now off the top of my head who have just been waiting for Powerline to be a part of the Lorcana universe, bro. And and this is like the 30-year anniversary, right? I think that's what we mentioned. And it's so fitting. It's gonna be so cool to have this maybe even as an epic rare, enchanted rare, or something like that. You never know. But many new cards coming out in this set. And many reprints happening in this set as well. But they were just teasing more and more Zack Stones. It's like they just want to keep getting us more and more hyped for the future of the game because Whispers in the Well has just been teased. This is the 10th set in Lorcana. This is already being revealed to us very, very briefly, and I'm just as excited to see what we're gonna get. I know at D23 they confirmed that next year we're gonna be getting some extra stuff like Pixar, and some other IPs are gonna become available. But in this image that they gave us right here, Zack Stone in the back corner, you can see a gargoyle, which is pretty awesome. Then we even see some like floating papers over here, and there's like people in them. I can't really make out who's in there. It might even be like a lion. It might be Mufasa or something like that. But yeah, what do you guys think? Whispers in the Well. What is this gonna be about? What is coming after Fabled in terms of the lore as well in Lorcana? Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be able to stop Jafar's reign. So then Fabled's gonna hit, and we're gonna be hitting like some new vibes when the Fabled takes over the new format. So we're going to be here to talk about it. We're going to be here to talk about this and more and everything all of your Lorcana needs. My Lorcana goons, thank you for sticking around and watching the end of this video. I can't wait to see what other IPs we get for Whispers in the Well. I can't wait to see the entire Reign of Jafar card, product line, and then the Fabled reprints, man. A bunch of stuff, a bunch of news revealed today and last week through Team Lorcana, and we appreciate the communication. We appreciate for sure over here from the Lorcana Goon Squad how much the company has been doing to take steps in the right direction, because it's looking like they hired a bunch of people. They've been doing a lot to put themselves back on the map as a TCG in this ever growing industry, and yeah, it's showing that they really do listen to some of the suggestions, the demands that the fans are making. Right, we got Powerline, we got some new rarities, we got some awesome reprints for some people who maybe don't want to spend some big bucks on some legendary Rapunzels that have been $50+ since set one. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot for everybody to go around. Zach, any final thoughts before we call it a day?
Again, bittersweet news about Worlds not being open to the public that we got the confirmation from last week. But yeah, it was intended to just be out and released by this time. But again, I have to give kudos to them stepping forward and mentioning that it will not be open to the public. When the leaks did come out, it's them holding themselves accountable, which is something I greatly appreciate. So overall, I'm excited for the future of Lorcana. I'm excited to see some Goofy movie cards. I want those reveals to happen soon, but Reign of Jafar isn't even out yet, and that will, those 8 sets will be the World Championship format. So I'd like to know if you guys have any favorite cards that were revealed so far. What color combinations do you think are going to actually come out the gate? Are we going to see our classic red, blue, amber, steel, ruby am decks pop out? Will we see some other color combos start to take shine? I mean, we only have so much information now, but I'd like to get your guesses in the comments below. So please let us know what you guys think is going to be a part of the next meta in the Reign of Jafar, and what your favorite cards have been revealed so far.
Yeah, personally, I'm looking forward to playing that lady in my Chernadog deck. But until then, remember to stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we'll see you Goons next time.